y'all. We are live here with Meyer Fashion, and today we have a guest. And I'm excited about the guest because it's my twin. She is a therapist based out of the Raleigh, well, I'll say RDU area, and she will be sharing with us more on the Meyer Fashion vibe. And I want to bring her on now without further delay. And I am super excited. So let's see. You on? Let me see. Did you join? Ah. There you go.
Look
I'm
at
like,
me figuring it out. Look at
we
me.
both the real, technology challenged. Real bad. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and toss it over to you to explain what SOS is, the platform itself, and of course introduce you as Charmaine and then the brand SOS.
Yes, yes. So thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And, I'm happy to be here. Again, my name is Charmaine Joyner. I'm a licensed clinical social worker in the state of North Carolina. And I am the founder of Security Yourself, SOS. We have been in this game 5 years. Shout out to us. And I got this piece of mint in my mouth. And, we basically what we do is promote self-care, self-love, while also educating some of the suicide prevention tools that we need. If you've ever experienced someone who has lost their battle when it comes to suicide, or even if you have thoughts of self-harm or anything of that nature, what SOS as an organization is here to just educate on how we can support that population, and mental health. So as some people may know that, July, we're Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. So this is the perfect time to
Oh,
kind of be on this platform.
period.
Look at us. Like, this is the perfect time to really be able to advocate for mental health. I am from Fayetteville State University for the undergrad in
So
sociology.
wrong.
So understanding, yes, Bronco Pride. So understanding that, that we have to really just be there in all spaces. So for me, I have been working in mental health for over 18 years, working in public schools, hospital, private practice, in the house, in community, one of the largest nonprofits in the nation, and also like in corrections, and now currently in therapy for 2 years. I still understand that in our community, for like the BIPOC community, we have to meet people where they're at. Not everybody's coming into the therapy office. Not everybody is going to tell people how they're feeling at that time. So I am honored to know that we have that representation, especially during this month, and really happy that we're here having these conversations and these spaces like this on this platform with Mind Your Fashion to have these conversations, open these doors, creating a space to just be vulnerable. And it doesn't have to be in a therapy office. We just need to
Exactly.
make it common. Let's talk about it. So I'm so happy to be here. So let's get
Yes,
started.
and I am one of those people. Every therapist has a friend like me, where and I'm also a psych major, so it's weird. But therapy and me have a weird relationship, right? But Charmaine, when I go through transition, she's very much so the friend that I dial up because I feel like I'm always that friend for other people. But Charmaine is my person that I get to kind of, I guess, get free therapy from.
Hmm.
And
All my
that's
friends, all my
okay.
friends, all
And
my
that's
friends,
okay.
friends
But
and family, girl, and family. If y'all watching, yeah, free.
but what I really wanted to drive in with this particular platform is the importance of people knowing the connection more so between psychology and fashion. And I recently saw a video that you posted on Instagram and TikTok about dressing up. So kind of what motivated you? Because I was like, oh, okay, look, she in the flow. She in the flow. So what made you, I guess, want to talk about that topic? Was it like a client that kind of like encouraged you to talk about it? I mean, I know you can't really, what I'm saying, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think, yeah. So of course I did do some of those posts because as me, I'm about to call you twin. We think
What you
alike.
girl? It's a
We
conversation. It's
twins.
fine. I already said it. I said twin. I already did it.
We twins. So I want to look good. And that's just point blank period, no matter where
Yeah.
I'm at. And I think like to piggyback off your last episode, like once I kind of transitioned to like, okay, I'm no longer doing community based anymore. So, being as comfortable as I am because I'm meeting people where they are, now people are coming to me in this therapy office. So I thought like, okay, I'm working, like this is my work environment. Therapists look professional. So I gotta look professional, like is what I thought in my
Yeah.
mind. So I'm thinking
Yeah.
like, let me switch it over, but then I'm thinking like, ooh, this isn't fun.
And it's
Like
not
you think I'm about to
you.
wear no, I am very expressive. And then I found myself overly trying to figure out where I need to be dressed at. And I can say this, because I'm not, sharing anybody's information. And look, she stopped coming. So I'm thinking like, okay, let me push it a little further. Let me be me.
Yeah.
And I have this young client. Okay, let me meet her where she's at. I came in here looking real streetwear, and I remember having on like overalls. I had on like a toboggan, and I had
Period.
a shirt that said like "Black is beautiful," and I had like some Carhartts or whatever they call it, like overalls. And I think I might have had on like some Converses. Who knows? So, and I had a bucket
You
hat that
definitely
was like knit.
had on the Converses. You explaining the outfit. You had on Converses.
I had on
Mm-hmm.
Converses. I'm very comfortable. And I believe it was a Friday. So I'm here. And so I'm thinking like, oh, she's young. Let me dress young. Let me try to fit the clients that I have. And girl, that girl stopped coming. And I was like, see, this is why I'm not about to keep dressing for y'all. Like, I'm gonna do me. And you see my profile, and I felt that I had to kind of like fit my style, my fashion, and who I am into my practice and who I am because, you know, this is me. I'm gonna be me no matter where I'm at, what setting I'm in. So I kind of feel like fashion definitely plays that role of like reclaiming your energy and your identity. And I just knew that's what I had to do, but I also had to also excuse me, I also had to make it clear for other people to understand like don't be switching up yourself for other people
It's
like
so
because they're still
easy.
not gonna come. She's
It's
still
so
there.
easy to get lost in it.
So I think that's where I kind of was like, I made a post and I'm like, how does a therapist dress? Like, I don't even know how a therapist dress. And
Yeah.
then it just evolved from there. And then it kind of came where like, okay, like sometimes I'm in a bad mood or I'm sad. How do I want to dress? And that defines like where I'm at. Like, okay, I'm going to dress good because I know I'm a little nervous. I'm about to do a presentation. I'm gonna dress real cute because at the end of the day, you're gonna remember my identity as that girl look good.
Yeah.
And she was talking about this, and that. You ain't gonna remember all my stuttering. So, yeah, that's kind of where it came to play for me. Like just trying to understand where I'm at in this new journey, and then also not losing myself during the process. And then sometimes navigating through my anxious thoughts. So, yeah.
And if you missed my first episode, it is live on YouTube. And make sure you subscribe to that. But going back to what she was saying, I definitely touched on when I went from being a full time entrepreneur to transitioning into a very politically heavy, super sophisticated, very dull, to be frank, fashion sense world. So I found myself dulling myself down for a brief moment, very brief. But nonetheless, even in this space, and then of course, I think it had a lot to do with me getting older. Um, my style began to change and things of that nature. So I touched on the importance of making sure that you stay true to yourself. And with all that came from the pandemic and just these different work environments, you literally can work from home. Like, what's this work fashion thing about anyway? Like, of course, no Daisy Dukes and midriff and all that kind of stuff. Like the understood kind of workplace etiquette. But for instance, this hairstyle, I honestly can say I wouldn't wear it to work.
Okay.
But it's
Okay.
kind of like, why though?
Why? Because I be in puffs too, and I'm giving therapy. Like I promise you, I'm in two puffs, face buns.
So that's
Like If it's
That's what I'm
given,
saying. Like, it's these culture norms that we have to break as Black people in particular.
yeah,
Like, what's up? Why do we have to dance around all of this? Because in the end, it makes it insufferable. Almost like it's very stressful to go to work
yeah,
because I essentially, literally, am not being myself,
nope,
and it's
not
a
at all.
lot. You know what I'm saying? So that is a part of the psychology of it all. With that said, today's topic is dopamine dressing.
Dopamine.
Now, I know that a lot of people don't know about the topic for real, because it's something that I think might have surfaced in the last 2 years. And essentially, the definition of it is wearing something that literally makes you happy. A lot of times that's a color, texture, and what I always like to call out is the accessories of it all. And somebody that comes to mind when it comes to the psychology of like literally dealing with people and human behavior. Y'all remember when her used to wear sunglasses all the time
All
and
the
would literally
time.
not show her face?
Yeah.
It was her brand, but it was also a mask. And for a lot of people, y'all may not know, but her was out before. She was under a different name, but she rebranded. Going back to my first topic, she
Today.
rebranded and she became someone who wanted to almost remain faceless. It
Yeah.
was hard to detect who she was, but in that space, I believe she thrived the most. And so for me, my thing, a lot of times people catch me with a look, I'm wearing shades. And believe it or not, I come off extroverted, but I am becoming an introvert. And there is such thing as, like being both depending on the situation and the environment. But for instance, funny thing, I went to a Halloween party at my favorite place, the park in DC. That's literally my favorite, like, little club spot. I wore shades with the fit, of course. It was a vibe. But that was the packest party I've been to since the pandemic. I almost had like 3 anxiety attacks. But but for real, my shades, they almost like help me feel like I'm in a alternate universe. And the things that are really happening around me, it doesn't impact me or bother me as much. So for me, that's a part of my dopamine. Like, that's a part of my brand. That's a part of my aesthetic. That's what helps me show up in the world and still be comfortable with where I'm at and who I am. So that was something that I really wanted to touch on because I feel like that her example would be very, very relatable, to how people literally have to adjust sometimes who they are and help themselves show up in the world in a way that people can receive them. Because to your point, like, you can have a bad day, you can be upset, things are going on with you personally, but you're having to, like, literally, this is your job to pour into other people. So you have to do certain things to make sure that what you're going through doesn't impact your session. So,
Yeah.
like you said, that means dressing up to make yourself feel better. And there are some colors in particular that I wanted to call out and give you, kind of what they mean or what they do for your mood, rather. So,
Mhm.
yellow, for instance, and that's what I have one. Okay. Now, yellow increases optimism and focus. Not for nothing, if you know me, I don't prepare for this kind of stuff. I'm a natural talker. I get up here and I just flow. Could I be
Mhm.
bomb.com if I practice and study? Sure. But I always make sure that my guests in particular feel comfortable. So I don't want to be over here like OD preparing and then they're kind of like, so, because I don't want it, because I don't want it to be too anxiety filled. Like, this
Mhm.
is literally what we're trying to get away from. So
Yeah.
my idea when I get on these lives is for it to be a conversation. Like, when Twin hit me up, like, hey, so what should I do? Because she's somebody, she asked 20 gazillion questions because she want to be prepared. So I'm
I
like,
do.
girl, it's going to be a conversation. I gave her a few things that we were going to touch on, but ultimately, it's a conversation. So that being said, I feel like the yellow helped me feel optimistic and focused on what we got going on. And it could be in the
Mhm.
mind, just as I read it. Could be, but then that's the psychology of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
That's it.
Orange boosts your energy and your confidence.
Mhm.
Blue increases or is associated to productivity and calmness. And if you notice, like a lot of the politicians and stuff like that, they wear a lot of blue.
Mhm.
So,
Navy
and
blue,
if
light
you think
blue, earth
about
color.
it, they probably losing their mind inside, right? So you gotta wear that blue to stay calm.
Girl, I know plenty of people. Their whole closet is blue, and I'm like, ugh, okay, no color.
I, I was talking about that on the first episode too. I used to
Mhm.
really look at people like, "Ooh, what's your wardrobe doing? Like, where's your color?" But I also got a little hint of blue in here too.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then red enhances energy and excitement. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Because to me, I thought it would say something like it make you feel sexy. Like, when a girl put on a red lip, it's like, ooh.
And that's what I went to.
I feel real grown when I wear a red lip. I feel real grown when I wear red nail polish. We from the 90s, so our parents didn't let us
Oh,
play with red. Like, you was not, like, it was an honor
yeah,
for me to have a red lip and red polish.
yeah.
Like, I'm grown now.
Grown, grown. I got a picture of my grandma with them nails, back in the day. And I'm
Yo, them
like,
grandmas and them aunties had those red.
and she had on a purple shirt. Let's be clear. They didn't even,
But
she
hold on
still,
now, red and purple look bomb together.
but it was just back in those days. So for
Okay.
her to like pop out with auburn hair, red nails, and she
It's a
like,
pose.
I was
It's
like,
a
get it,
pose.
grandma. And that's what she used to say. Be you. Be you. She said everybody wanted to dim my light, but I had to be me. And I'm like, and that's right, 252. You stand
Too
up,
fast.
whatever color. Whatever
I'm
color.
screaming. And the last color is green. That improves balance and decision making. I thought that was interesting because green is my color. Like
Yeah,
pink and
green
green,
is.
of course, both colors. Love them equally the same. But yeah, the green thing was interesting because I never really associated that to that. And then I was thinking, like, I wonder if the hue attached. Like, is it the money green that make you feel like that as opposed to the
Yeah,
lime green? I'm not gonna dig too deep. That's what they said.
yeah.
But believe it or not, with the dopamine dressing, therapists and psychologists, and I believe even psychiatrists, um, use this with ADHD patients. And I thought that
Hmm.
was a very, very cool fun fact. So with that said, as I mentioned, this outfit for me is a dopamine because I'm big on like structure, and color and texture. So with this particular look, you see my little sleeve,
I see the corner.
you know what I'm saying? And then my necklace, because it just looks rich. Just
Hmm.
the studs. It just
Yes,
looks rich.
yes,
And again, for me, while they don't mention hair is a part of your look, y'all. Because you can have a bomb outfit on, and if your hair doesn't help bring the look all together, excuse me, the whole look falls flat. And
yes,
that's so unfortunate. I see it happen so often. And not to be funny, but it's like a lot of girls in this era that love a bust down. A bust down don't go with every look. Can you
no.
add a clip? Can you add a headband? What
Yeah,
about up, down? Like, can we do something? And that's why I hate, like, when I be wearing certain wigs, I be like, hold on, like, where's the versatility? I gotta have a full lace. Because I need to be, I need to be able to figure out how it can be tailored to the look that I'm wearing. Well,
right.
I'm gonna change the whole hairstyle. You
Yeah,
already know how that goes.
yeah.
I'm
Coming
just,
off.
I'm just gonna change the whole
Yeah.
hairstyle. So, with that said, I wanted to then ask you, um, overall, what are your thoughts on the impact of your mental health and how you show up in the world?
For me, when it comes to like dopamine dressing, or just with
No,
calming
not
myself in
dopamine
general.
dressing, just the psychology and fashion concept of it all. Like,
Yeah.
what do you either see or what would you share? Rather, if you had a client who,
Hmm.
let's say, they don't look their best and they're
Yeah.
clearly going through depression, maybe even somebody in our age group
Yeah.
who is struggling with trying to figure out this new version of themselves. Because I was just telling somebody today, like 35 to me, it's not a midlife crisis, but it's like I feel like it's the crisis before the midlife. So that said, it's like
Good way.
you're
Yes.
finding yourself outside of like that 21 version, and then of course you hit 25. That's a little milestone, and then it's 30. Then it's like, okay, yeah, but then 35 is like, wait, I'm almost 40. Like, what's up? What I
Yeah.
gotta do? Like, what are we doing? And at this point, you're
Right.
expected to like figure it out and know what's going on. So
Yeah.
let's say you got a 35-year-old client, literally just trying to figure it out, battling with depression and or anxiety.
Hmm. Um, so I actually have a client that, she didn't know exactly what it was, and you know, everybody loves virtual. And nothing against that. I'm still available by virtual if you need services in North
Now
Carolina.
I'm still taking virtual
Um,
clients.
but so I can't see everything, and I do think that takes away because I am a person that I want to see everything. I want to see your shoes.
Okay,
I want to see it. It helps me identify to know what you're doing.
that's
I want to know if
good.
you're rocking your feet, if you got creases in your tennis shoes, if you try not to crease your tennis shoes. As men, like I think that kind of helps me. But when I'm limited to just you know, do you want to do
Square.
face? Like I can't.
No,
It's hard
that's
to
true.
see. But I think with her, she did struggle with depression and anxiety over some time. She actually wasn't in the 35. She was actually a little younger than that. She
Okay.
was still going through a transition in
Right,
life,
for
and
sure.
somehow, it just hit me to ask her like, what you be wearing? Like, what you be doing? Like, let's explain this, cause you a beautiful girl, but when I see you, you look like you about to go to bed. Like,
Yeah.
what time do you do you? And she was like, well, and that's when it opened the door that now I want you to create a Pinterest. I want you to create a Pinterest to every move that we go to. So I need you to create this vision that you want. It doesn't necessarily have to happen overnight. It's baby steps, but it became like where now I'm kind of like helping her redefine herself of thinking like, okay, I'm not limited to leggings and black pants. All she was wearing was leggings,
Yeah.
leggings and dark black, and I love black. I'm a black
Gothic.
girl.
That
I'm
emo
black
stuff.
down. And you want an emo. That was confusing. You're not that, and that's okay. So let's just figure it out. Like she's like, well, nobody really talks to me. I bet it seems like you don't want to get spoken to. Like
Correct.
you kind of trying to be hidden. You just need the shades, her. Like you want to be
Ring.
hidden, and that's okay if that's what you want. But you told me I'm here to help challenge those thoughts, um, and challenge and meet those goals that you want. So we need to figure out where you're at when it comes to experiencing your anxiety and depression, and we don't want it need to look like how we always feel. We still have to be like, hey, I'm here. You know, this represents me and how I look. If you want to be baggy pants and baggy clothes, I told her, girl, we can do that. I can do that. I do that. And I had to explain to
Right.
her like, here's a day when I went out with twin, and I'm not showing you, of course, but I'm like this.
Fine.
I have on baggy
So,
pants. I have on a jersey. I have on a bucket hat. I said, but when you see me, I'm dressed like this.
right.
You got to be able to switch it up based upon your mood. And I think sometimes we struggle with like just being in the back and being in the darkness and things of that nature, where we have to really take that time to pause and be like, no, I'm still here. And that could be expressed through our clothes sometimes, even if we can't vocally say it.
Yeah.
So I think, when it comes to fashion and dressing up and our mental health, I definitely think that that's why we still have to push through. Like we only have one life. We only have,
Listen.
you know, we have to live life. And, you ain't gotta be naked like little Kim, but you don't have to be overly dressed. It's just so many ways that you can express yourself without actually having to speak. Um, and I just feel like, it's time to show up for yourself. So let's figure this out wherever you are. So
That's
yeah,
good.
that's my thought.